Now, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't consider myself the worst player in the world. I consider myself pretty good, but when it comes to actually recording, I sound absolutely terrible. If you haven't watched my videos, you probably already know. And so the best thing I can get out is stuff like this. And when I compare that to what I play when I'm not recording myself, it sounds so much like crap. And so I thought, why the hell is this happening? Because it's got to be something to do with nerves. It's got to be something to do with like just being annoying in general. It's something I'm sure almost every musician has experienced at some point. You play incredibly, incredibly well, whether that's live or just at home. And then you think, oh yeah, that sounded really cool. I'm going to record that. And so you do, and you regret it. Like, very, very much regret it. Because people are like, oh my God, you play guitar? Come on, show me something. And you really want to be like, oh yeah, like I play, like I consider myself pretty cool. And then you show them a video and you listen to it and it's like, oh God. And then that person just ghosts you. This sounds like a real life example, I promise that wasn't. Anyways, I digress. The truth is that playing when you're not behind a camera has very, very different neurological bases as opposed to when you're performing in front of a camera. And that's something that, when doing my research, was actually really, really interesting when I looked into. So I thought, why don't I spread it with you beautiful people? So anyways, let's get straight into the video. First, I want to talk about something called red light syndrome. Now, this isn't something to do with like, I don't know, I can't say either of those words online. Red light syndrome is a thing that happens to your brain as soon as you realize that the thing that you're trying to perform right now is being captured. And so that record button instantly raises all of the stakes, even if no one else is hearing you actually playing it. Your brain stops treating it like, oh yeah, let me just play a cool song. It starts treating it like, okay, it needs to be absolutely flawless, it needs to be absolutely amazing. Incredibly harsh critical evaluation. Something that, believe it or not, doesn't help you playing. Your brain is no longer thinking, yeah, let me make music. It's thinking, okay, create evidence that you're able to play what you're playing. Even if you don't actually think that this is evidence that I can play. That small shift in judgment is alone to ruin your timing, your playing, your left hand, your right hand, your freaking shaky leg when you hit record. Red light syndrome doesn't change that you can play your instrument. It just makes it really more difficult to focus on what you need to focus on. And as you've probably experienced it, it massively does affect what you're trying to do, because then you're like, ah! So why does playing in front of a camera feel so much more intimidating than actually playing live in front of people in that moment? Playing live obviously will feel a little bit scary, but when you play in front of a camera, it can be a lot more exposing. Think about it like this, when you're playing live in front of a person, if you make a mistake, then, that's just happened, unless you like start freaking out about it. But usually when you play a mistake, you just kind of carry on and keep going. Whereas with a camera, you can actually look back on what you've played. And so if you hear a note, you can go, and then realize how much you hate yourself and how much you should have never started playing guitar and just picked up something normal like sports and football, and make your parents proud by doing something that's actually normal for kids to do, like getting an office job and living a 9 to 5 and just being a normal person. Oh my God. Playing in front of a camera, you have the ability to move back what you're playing and re-listen to it. Whereas when you're playing live, at least from what I know of, people can't rewind you playing and listen to the mistake again. Which means every mistake you make, you will incredibly focus on, and it's impossible to ignore. Again, something you've probably experienced when you play, even though you probably are a really great musician. And the thing is, your brain tries to take precautions to make your playing a lot better and easier and, less failing. And it does that in the most stupid way possible. The worst thing you can do when you're playing is have tension, as we probably know. And yet your brain thinks, oh, I might make a mistake. And it tightens up. That's like, I don't know, peeing in the wind, or like voting to have a government. Like, it doesn't make sense. Yet the brain still does it, even if you don't want it. Your brains and us just don't go well together, especially if you're a musician, if we've even got one. Anyways, I digress. If you probably realised, when you start tensing up when you're playing, it gets so much more difficult to play stuff. You put in way more pressure than you need to, and you literally just burn yourself out. And that feeling of being really tense and scared usually happens way more when you're behind the camera, for the simple reason that you can go back and you can think, that wasn't perfect. Which is why I've got so many videos of me playing that I've wanted to put on YouTube, but I've thought, oh crap, I've missed out one note in a 3-minute song, like, oh, it's awful, I just can't listen to it, I can't play it, I can't send it out. It just makes a bunch of hassle that we don't need as musicians. We're already lonely people. We're like, what more can we have on our plate? I think I need more on my plate. I'm a skinny twat. Anyways, that's not the point. But an audience doesn't quite freeze time the same way that a camera can. Actually, if you can freeze time, let me know, because that'd be so sick. Oh, I'd love to be able to like stop time. Like just think how much you can get done. Like just say, oh no, you've got a bunch of homework to do, and it's like you can literally leave it until you're in the classroom, and you can just sit there, pause time, write it all down. You can even like just pause time, grab that answer sheet, and then go back and then just do it. Or think about work. Like you can just go into work, and they're like, all right, so we need you to do this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And then if you can just do that in a split second, then one, you can just slack off for the rest of the day and do nothing. And also, if you're doing a really, really amazing job, then think they're probably going to give you more. I don't know how jobs work, but I'm sure they'll probably give you more money for doing like a really amazing job. Also, think about it in terms of like, imagine, well, if you could like freeze time and then like practice guitar, if time was really frozen, then the strings wouldn't make noise because time's frozen, sound waves don't travel, vibrations of the strings won't occur. But like, just imagine you just freeze time, and you could freeze it like with an instrument, and so you can just I could practice for like I could be like those two-set violin guys and practice for 40 hours a day. Oh, I really want to stop time now. If you guys can stop, if you guys like know how to stop time, can you teach me? Because like I could get so much stuff done. Think about working out. Working out, you could like usually that takes like what, an hour, then plus travel plus all the extras. Imagine just being able to do that immediately and then just go about your day. That sounds so. There's not much. There's not enough time in the day to like just live life, and yet I spend most of that time doom scrolling. You could freeze time and then doom scroll. How perfect! I'm. Oh my god, that was a rant. That was a rant. Anyway, let's get back into it. Sorry for that little rant. Anyways, let's get on to actually what I was talking about. Self-monitoring and flow. Good playing, as you know, happens when you reach a flow state. I think the kids call it nowadays. I'm 17 and I said that. Anyway, as you probably know, this is when you're really like absorbed into what you're playing. You can like really feel every note. You can be like it's just where your brain is completely focused on what you're doing, and you can just do it. It just happens, and you don't need to think about it. What recording does, usually, is it takes you out of that flow and makes you self-monitor everything that you're doing. So if you think about it, usually when you're in a flow state, you're just using muscle memory and you're just kind of vibing with what you're doing. Yet when you've got the camera out, what you're doing is you're thinking, okay, that note needs to be played there. Oh, I need to do this kind of picking. Oh, I got to do that. The more you have to think consciously about it, the a lot harder it's going to be, because it takes more mental effort to actually do it. What a mouthful! Mouthful that was. I just can't talk. Anyways is my like safety word. Let me get back to the video. The difference between your flow state and your self-monitoring is that one requires no consciousness and one of them requires complete consciousness. And those things obviously don't work well together. So if you can record and reach flow state, it's a way more difficult task than to just record and actually focus on everything playing. Yet focusing on everything playing is way more difficult to actually play accurately. It's a massive rabbit hole, what can I tell you? It's scary. Anyways, I said it again. But as I was saying, the more that you actually have to listen to what you're playing while you're playing it, the less consciousness you can have to actually play it. If you're focusing on, oh, does that sound okay? Does that sound okay? Does that sound okay? Does that sound okay? The more your brain has to actually focus on that and not focus on like, I need to play the notes here or else I'm not playing the song. This overload of attention in your brain is what makes you think, oh, I need to freeze up and stop playing. And as we know, that doesn't make you play any better. In fact, that makes you play way worse than what you could have done. And another thing is, when you've got a camera on, perfectionism in most people freaking goes through the roof. And well, in my case, it's the old woman upstairs. But perfectionism, again, as you know, oh my god, it ruins like anything. For my album and all my music that I'm recording currently, I cannot record a stupid solo because if it's not perfect, I'll just get rid of it immediately. So I'll have like very rough takes that it will never ever see the light of day, because they've got like a tiny error. Like when I'm recording, if I'm a millisecond out on my rhythm, I'm like, no, can't do it, and it ends up taking so much longer because I'm not gonna show you guys if I don't think it's like pretty good. Oh, it's awful. It's awful. What perfectionism does is it takes your playing and instead of making it I'm having fun playing, it makes it an actual test where you have to score 100% or the world will explode. Is that a movie where like someone needs to play and if they don't like play 100% correctly, then the world explodes? If that's not a movie, that should be a movie because like I feel like I'd go and watch it. Would you go and watch that movie? Like, what could it be called? Like, it could be called Wrong Note Apocalypse. No. Let me know what you think it could be called. Anyways, this is a freaking yap. Perfectionism makes things way more difficult because if it's not perfect, it's gone. And then the more times that you have to redo a thing, the more annoyed you get. I know for me at least, a lot of the time, if I'm recording something like more than 10 times, it gets to the point where I just want to stop and I want to go into a ball and just cry because it's so much of a hassle. And then, especially if I'm doing that in the morning, then I have to get up and like go throughout the rest of my day and feel like I'm a complete embarrassment. I couldn't play this one riff and I couldn't play it right. And it sucks. But with perfectionism, the more you learn to accept your mistakes, the easier it gets. Apparently. The thing about perfectionism is that if you don't have it, it's really difficult to seem like you really, really care about something, even though having perfectionism about something shows that you do care about it. But if you show something online that's like sloppy or something, the amount of comments you'll get of being like, huh, not quite my tempo, oh, that wasn't the right note, or does that sound any good to you? People can be so annoying, man. Anyways, not you guys. You guys are really nice. I say that, I'm probably going to get a bunch of hate comments in the video. Anyway. Another way that the camera ruins the fact that we can play is by making us think note by note. It's a massive trap that absolutely sucks. Like if you think when you're playing a song on muscle memory and you're not in front of a camera or in front of people, your brain probably doesn't think, okay, I'm playing the 7th fret, then I'm playing the 8th fret, and then the 9th fret, and then it doesn't think like that. It thinks, okay, so I do that scale, and then it goes to that shape, then it goes to this, and it goes to that. Like take altitudes or any sweeping, for example. You don't think of it as okay, E, B, G, E, B, G, E. You think of it as E minor sweep, back up to an A sweep, back up to an B minor sweep, or whatever. You don't think of it in terms of individual notes. But when you do think about it in individual notes, when the camera comes out, that's when your brain thinks, what am I gonna do? Why am I so hyper today? But you get the idea. I really hope you get the idea because I've been saying that a lot today. And think about it like this: if you have to focus on more things in your solo, then you're going to hear a lot more like not perfect things. And the more not perfect things you're going to hear, the more crap you're going to feel about your playing. And the more crap you feel about your playing, the worse you're going to play because you're feeling like crap. And so it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. It's a positive feedback loop. Why do we even do music? Actually, in fact, I've got an entire video as to why we do music that you should go watch. Anyways, self-promo out of the way. Join the Patreon. Anyways, I'm saying the word again. Sorry. I need a word other than other. I need a word that's something that's not anyway, so I can use it when I want to say anyways, but I don't want to say anyways. Let me know down below what word that could be. Anyways, another thing about the camera is that there's one more take. You can always do another shot. And so if you do have a tiny mistake, you have the option of redoing it. And as you know, if you have the option to do something, you're more likely to do it. And so if you think, oh, I can just re-record this, then you're probably going to, even when it's a mistake that there's no point in doing it, because you're actually able to make the change, you're going to redo it and you're going to make the change. And because you do that so many times, you get really mad. Another thing is that because we're so scared to make these mistakes on a psychological level, we're less likely to go out and experiment with new things. Like take when I'm recording like, I don't know, the rough vocals on the guitar for one of my songs, or I'm recording the actual solo, a lot of the time instead of doing the bend, I'll just slide up to the note that I want. Because with the bend, if it's slightly like 1 cent off, then I'm just going to scrap it completely. And I don't want to make that mistake. So my brain is like, oh yeah, you're actually being really smart by not doing the bend, because then it takes less takes to do it. But then I'm not doing I'm not making the melody that I want to make in my head. And so it's technically cleaner, but it's not emotionally what I want it to be. And the irony is that a lot of the times the emotion that you feel in a song comes from the fact that it is human and it's not technically perfect unless you listen to like technical German death metal and all that music. That was a really great like German death metal vocal. I should be a German I should be a vegetable. I should be a vocal German. I can. I should be a vocal German. I should be a. I should be a technical German death metal vocalist. I've got such a way with words, man. Usually, when someone's improvising, it feels a lot more like emotional and feel more in the moment because it is improvisation. It's in the moment. And so if you play like a bend and it's like slightly more swung than it is straight, then you're probably going to think like, oh, that's grooving. Or if someone like plays a gallop and it like gallops and it's like the string cuts out or whatever, and it's got a tiny like jolt of like whoa, whoa, then you're thinking like, damn, that's making me want to like move and vibe to it. So the boldness that we have when we want to play our improvisational thingies on a camera, because you can hear back on it and you can like understand what's all crap and that you'll need to like retake it if you make a mistake. Your brain doesn't want to go out and doesn't want to adventure into new things, which means it might sound a little less emotional. It might sound a little less unstable in a good way. And it might sound a little like smaller as a song, purely because your brain doesn't want to take the risk to be different and cool and awesome. And so it might literally change the way that you're playing. And so are there ways to fix this? Because this is a universal thing. I promise you, it's not just us that experience this. Most musicians, unless you see like the technical gods in the world, or people who quite frankly just don't care, then it happens to all of us because it's a normal human thing to not want mistakes. But the thing is, we need to accept mistakes because if we let them rule our lives, then we can't be our true person because mistakes are what make you people. If you didn't make mistakes in your past, you wouldn't be the person you are today. If I didn't freaking if I didn't cut that person off in my life, then I never would have realized that I am emotionally immature and I need to become a better person, develop strong morals and a strong mind and be my own. What's the quote? Be your own something. I've forgotten what the will. I'm hyper today. Oh, it must be that freaking glass of water I had this morning. Yeah. So how can we actually fix these like issues that we've got? First of all, embrace the mistakes. Like acknowledge the fact that what you play is not going to be perfect. Even if you see people online who are playing the same thing that you're playing, and they're playing it absolutely perfectly and amazingly, and maybe like 20 BPM faster than you, they're playing really cleanly and epically. Just remember, you're not them. You're playing the way that you're playing. Be who you are. You're not at the same point in your progression that someone else is. If you look at like Burnt online, yeah, he plays freaking the most perfect notes and he plays like everything super cleanly and super in time and all that stuff. But he's been playing for God knows how long. He's played with God knows how many people. He's played for God knows how many hours. And he's not us. And that doesn't mean we're bad players. It just means that we're on a different part of the journey than he is. And yeah, you might feel really uncomfortable like posting a video where you're not playing perfectly. Look at any videos of me playing guitar. I've not posted a single video that's perfect because I forced myself to try and get into the habit of like, it doesn't need to be perfect. I would like it to be perfect, but it doesn't have to be because no one's going to be like, I'm going to hate you for the rest of my life because you played this one wrong note, this one wrong song, and I hate you for it. If they do, screw them. Like, why are they making such a big hassle out of one note? To conclude, yes, we finally got to that point. Recording in front of a camera, you can go back on it and you can listen to all the mistakes that you made previously. Whereas when you're actually playing in the moment and you're playing in front of people, any situation where it can't be rewinded and go back, you don't hear all the crap that's going on because you're feeling in the moment. You're there. You're present. You're not thinking of it as, oh, I need to play this and then that and this and that. You're just playing. You're just enjoying what you're doing, probably. And in a lot of cases, not having that fear of like crap, I need to play everything absolutely perfectly. Perfectly? Wow, I need to work on my emphasis. Not playing everything absolutely perfectly. A lot of the times it means you can put in a lot more of the emotional content you want to in your music, if you want to put that in your music. And so remember, perfection is not something that you need to have in the world. It would be nice to have, but you shouldn't throw yourself off a cliff for it. You should throw yourself off a cliff if you've lost love. Don't throw yourself off a cliff at all, for anyone, for anything, for any do, any what, anyhow. I'll see you guys in the next amazing video. Probably not going to be amazing, but we'll see. So I will see you guys, you beautiful people, soon. So enjoy your day. Go, I don't know, make fun of me with all your friends. And like, subscribe, join the Patreon, and I'll see you next time. Awesome transition to exit. That's a sick ass jump. Bye.